Dude, this project is due pretty soon. Shouldn't we start it?
Yeah, we should. We got 4 chapters and a lot of information to cover.
Dude, we got chapter 10, chapter 17, chapter 18, and 33. That's gnarly.
Well, we haven't done any preparations for this project. What are we gonna do? We can't learn everything in a week.
Ted, you're forgetting the radical time machine we have. Dude, how about we just go back in time, grab the smart dudes, and tell them to do the project for us?
Bill, that's a totally rad idea. Where do we go first?
I say we go to 1260, the time of the Mongols. Hey, that guy over there kind of looks like one of the silly people in one of our books. See?
Yeah, why don't we go talk to him and see if he knows what's going on?
He doesn't look American. How is he going to understand us?
Well, our time machine will help us, understand it. It's like one of those translator things.
Oh, rad!
Well, let's go find out what's up.
Stop! Do not come near me. I am the grandson of Genghis Khan. My name is Kublai Khan, and I am the ruler of the Yun dynasty.
And we're trying to learn stuff about you guys.
Yeah, what they did to become one of the greatest empires in history.
The Mongols.
Well, I see. Well, I can tell you all about it. It all started with my grandfather, Genghis Khan. He was a conqueror of lands who succeeded in unifying all the Mongol tribes of Asia. He captured Asia and renamed the city of Jurchen to Khanbalik, which is the great city you stand in now and serves as our capital. He dominated rule in Asia and ran everything compared to when he conquered Persia. When he conquered Persia, it helped extend his reign westward. While controlling his Persian land, he allowed Persians to serve as ministers, provincial governors, and state officials, which was different but useful since he did not create a central government. See, he was able to conquer all these lands with the use of horses. Us Mongols are very powerful, of course, on horseback, and are able to hit a target with our bows from 200 feet away because of how powerful we are. The Silk Road is the safest it's ever been, allowing for a flourish of trade.
This is cool and all, but do you let your grandpa do all the work or what?
I extend Mongol rule to all of China and created my Yun dynasty. I also take interest in cultural matters and accept all beliefs to improve the lives of my subjects, something very different to Chinggis.
Wow, the Mongols seem almost invincible.
Well, it does seem that way, but there is a troublesome prophecy that says the decline of this empire will happen when the bubonic plague hits us. Use of paper money ravishes our economy, and many civil wars happen.
I'm pretty sure that's what happened.
Well, Kublai, you sure do seem to know a lot about what's happening. Why don't you come back with us? Whoa. So many white columns everywhere.
According to the time machine, I guess we're in Greece, 338 BC.
We gotta look for someone smart.
How about that guy over there?
Now you see, Alexander, it's time for you to learn about Greece and its glory.
Oh.
Hey, Bill, let's wait and hear him out. I think this is what we need to learn.
First, the government. Greeks didn't hold a centralized imperial state. Greek colonialization wasn't a process controlled by the central government. Colonies often didn't take guidance from the police. They relied on their own resources and charted their own courses, and they established colonies in their other parts of the Mediterranean to relieve population pressure. It provided merchants with fertile fields and yielded large agricultural surpluses and convenient access to copper, zinc, tin, and iron ore.
What about the Spartans and the Athenians?
Ah, well, they were quite different. You see, the Spartans had distinctions that came from prowess, discipline, and military talent. Boys and girls gave commitment to military values at young ages, and they had education and physical training by order of military means and were lenient towards gender roles. Whereas the Athenians had policies meant foreigners, slaves, and women had no direct voice in the government. They had sought to negotiate order by considering the interest of the city-states, and they had even government based on domestic principles.
What about the intellect of the Greeks? Weren't they famed for that?
Well, you see, there are many such other great philosophers, like myself, Socrates, and Plato, and Greek intellectuals like us were acknowledged as authorities by European philosophers. Many Christian and Islamic theologians went through great lengths to humanize their religious convictions with the views of Plato and myself. We had tragic dramas, marble buildings, the Parthenon, Olympic Games, and the Phoenician alphabet, but we didn't discover everything ourselves. You see, we had Minoan traditions for maritime trade, writing, and construction.
I'm Ted, and this here is Bill. We came from the future looking for smart people, and you seem as smart as they get.
Yeah, why don't you come with us? Say, have you heard anything about the Persian Wars?
The Persian Wars?
The Persian Wars were where the Greek links abroad brought the polis into direct conflict with the Persian Empire. However, Persia was unwilling to invest resources on the small and distant Greece, and the Greeks didn't have the resources nor desire to challenge the Persians.
Ted, look at the size of that thing. The crown? Yeah, he must be like the king.
Thank you for attending, my fine nobleman. Where do you hail from?
You're welcome, noble dude, but the skies look really sunny to me.
No, Ted, he's asking where we're from. We hail from the future. We are searching for the wisest people we can find to help us learn for our project.
A lot has happened recently in this area. Asia was not able to re-establish centralized rule that maintained order and stability while also facilitating trade and economic development. Europe did not establish a central government until Carolingian Empire in Western Europe. This allowed order and stability mostly found via local authorities and government founded on religious beliefs. Europe was constantly invaded by Germanic tribes, and Europeans looked to the Franks to establish rule, and the Franks failed. Germanic tribes established power in Italy, France, Germany, Britain, and Spain. Ostrogoths and Lombards dominated Italy after Byzantine left a power vacuum. Angles and Saxons from Germany and Denmark crossed the English Channel to establish kingdoms in Britain. The Franks built society based on agricultural work. They oversaw central government rule and institutions that would later influence Europe. The Franks also helped establish Roman Catholic Christianity as dominant religion in the region.
Please explain, who are you two noblemen?
Holy Father, I beg your pardon, but these are the most interesting of guests.
Your Pokeness, this is Bill, and I am Ted. We hail from the future.
It would be an honor, my noble dudes and dudettes, if you guys could tell us more.
Well, I'm sure King Otto has already told you about the political reigns and the land expansion, but the true history of this era lies within the people and the influence of the church of them.
This sounds like it's going to be super awesome. Keep going, Pope dude.
Monasteries developed their own rules, procedures, and priorities. Some demanded very pious lifestyles with constant work and agriculture. Saint Benedict Nursia strengthened early monastic traits by providing it with disciplines and senses of purpose. Monastic rules required monks to undergo vows of celibacy, charity, poverty, and obedience. Monasteries became popular throughout Europe as a dominant feature in social/cultural life throughout the countryside and Western Europe. Lords of the manors were prominent figures in politics and the military, and they had deputies which provided government, administration, police, and justice for the manors. Lords and deputies would also settle disputes between serfs, and they were able to conduct investigations, restore order, and determine how to solve conflicts. Lords executed serfs for crimes like murder, and serfs were kind of free individuals who owed obligations to the lords, and they had land which they cultivated. Obligations included labor, rent, portions of the harvest, and the like, and males worked 3 days a week on fields that lords provided, and additional labor services during planting and harvesting seasons, while women churned butter, made cheese, brewed beer, sewed threads, clothes, and cloths. While they were doing the chores, they would also care for children. Serfs had little opportunity to move to new lands. Landlords also provided tools, land, and animals, and serfs had to pay fees for the right to marry a serf from a different land.
Sounds like it was rough for those surfer dudes.
Total wipeout for sure.
I beg your pardon. My people lived a very happy life under my rule.
And with myself as Holy Father, I'll guide them through their lives and to paradise.
Well, with your great ruling and guiding, we can surely have a great project.
Let's go! Are you gonna help me celebrate my daughter's wedding?
I'm always up for a righteous party.
Focus, Bill. We got work to do.
This is true. We're almost done. You might be the right guy we're looking for.
Well, how can I be assistant to you fine gentlemen? We are working on a history report, and we need to figure out how it all went down.
So we used our time machine and we grabbed some smart dudes and we're looking for one more.
Time machine? I thought that was our military's latest in defense. You must let me join you for a quick ride. I know just the person that can help you
To get the knowledge you need. Awesome. We better hurry up and go.
I love this machine. True American craftsmanship at its finest. Yeah, just the man I was hoping to run into. Boys, this man is Henry Morgan Stanley.
Mr. Roosevelt, I wasn't aware you'd be attending this conference. Would you like me to let the other delegates know you've arrived?
Not right now, Henry. These boys would love to share some history. For you to share some history.
This doesn't seem like the proper place to give these students a lecture, Mr. Roosevelt, even ones from the future.
Excuse me, Mr. Henry, dude, but if you don't help us, we're destined to fail.
Well, I'd hate to be responsible for the failure of the youth of these Americans. I can help you with what I know.
Thank you, Henry. I knew you were the perfect man for the job.
Yes, well, it has been a time of great conflict and great exploration of the world. Great Britain, France, the U.S., the Netherlands, and Portugal all carved up China. China was unable to keep foreign influence out because of wars and unequal treaties that gave free rein to foreigners over China. Africa was carved up by France, Germany, Italy, Great Britain, Belgium, Portugal, and Spain in the recent centuries. Two types of rule were used. Direct rule, where Europeans collect taxes and do government stuff, and indirect rule, where Europeans employ natives to do the same thing. In Africa, all of the colonies rejected European control over them. They staged various uprisings and revolts and protests of rule, all unsuccessful, of course, because of lack of advanced technology on their end and highly advanced military and planning technology utilized by the Europeans. Europeans had superior rifles, communication technology, and transportation that allowed for easy shipping of troops to all ends of empire in little time. Other nations did not have same access to technology due to lack of diffusion and industrialization outside of Europe and the North Americas. The British government outlawed company rule of colonies and also invested in infrastructure that would easily connect its territories. However, British rule led to suppression of culture in the territories and non-inclusiveness of native peoples into government positions. Europeans wanted to spread Christianity to Africa and extract natural resources like gold, diamonds, crops, and labor. Less emphasis on African people led to arbitrary boundaries as a higher emphasis was put on wealth extraction. Scientific racism allowed people to say race ethnicities were below the white people.
The United States proclaimed itself a protectorate of the Western Hemisphere through the Monroe Doctrine. The doctrine worked to protect business investments of the U.S. in the Western Hemisphere by seeking to deter intervention of the affairs of the Western Hemisphere, which allowed us to buy Alaska and annex Hawaii.
Seems like you've surpassed my knowledge a bit here. Do you think it's wise for me to learn what happens in the future?
Hasn't hurt so far. What could possibly go wrong?
And he's telling us exactly what we need. Keep it up, Henry, dude. And Teddy.
I was just getting to the good stuff too. Let's see. Under the rule of both the East India Company and direct colonial administration, Britain transformed India. They suppressed Indian customs that conflicted with European laws and values. During the Sino-Japanese War, Meiji rulers refused to recognize Chinese control over land in Korea. So on 1894 August, Japan declared war with China. Japan's navy got control of the Yellow Sea, pushed the Chinese forces down, known the Qing dynasty, out of China. The Qing authorities recognized Korea's independence, thus making it a dependency of Japan. Japan won the Sino War, and Russia worried about their land in the Aladong Peninsula.
The near future seems to be a very turbulent time.
If only you could see what's going on here, our present time.
Bill, we need to get the information from the past, not distract with our future, dude.
You're right, dude. Mr. Roosevelt, will you please continue?
In 1904, war began and Japan destroyed the Russian Navy and the Russian Baltic Fleet and gained the recognition of control of Korea and the Liaodong Peninsula and made Japan an imperial power. The Panama Canal was built to facilitate communication and transportation between the Atlantic and Pacific Ocean, thanks to me. Colombia refused to cede the Isthmus of Panama for the canal. I personally supported a rebellion, which established a breakaway state of Panama and won the United States of America over territory called the Panama Canal Zone. I then issued the addition of the Roosevelt Corollary to the Monroe Doctrine, one of my many great achievements in my career.
This guy's amazing. Our teacher's gonna love him.
You are the man, Roosevelt, dude. What happened next?
The U.S. battleship Maine exploded in the harbor of Havana. We always suspected the Spanish of this treachery, but they denied any involvement. The U.S. declared war on Spain. We kicked their bum. And due to the victory, we gained the new territories of Cuba, Puerto Rico, Guam, and the Philippines. As for what happens next, you know more than I do.
I wish we paid attention in history class more. It's actually pretty cool.
We need to get back and finish this all up before we run out of time.
How can you run out of time if you own a time machine?
Like they never thought of that. Maybe you've inspired them to use their machine to become better scholars.
Maybe. But now we need to get home.
Man, Ted.
I think we should start with our Mongol dude con first. Come over here by me. Everyone else on, wait over there until I call you over.